A reading from the first book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verses 16 through 18. Be joyful always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus.
I'm Julie, a longtime youth group member here, and I have an amazing story to share with you today. Anne and Scott had recently moved into our town after just having gone through a painful divorce with her husband, Scott's father. Scott was a rising junior in high school. He was pretty distant and said he did not want to move to this town and to a new school, and I could tell he didn't want any new friends. He had even left a girlfriend behind and was supposed to start on the high school soccer team in his old school. He had been a member of the church youth group back there and was even on the youth planning committee for the Presbyterian. So Scott was mad. Mad at his mother, mad at his father, mad at God, and mad at everybody. He did not really feel like cooperating with anything. He needed no one. He was depressed and his mom worried about him. So I wanted to get him to come to youth group, and I knew his mom wanted him there too. But he was too angry and would not participate. His mom did insist that he at least come to worship on Sundays. This was a non-negotiable. That's where this pretty amazing story begins. On most Sundays, Scott would sit in the car until the last possible moment before worship, and then he would zip into the church and sit in the back row. Then, just as the benediction was pronounced, Scott would zip right out the door again. He was meeting his obligation to the letter, and that was all. He'd leave, and he would still be mad at everything, including having to sit there in church.
I'm so worried about Scott. Can you think of any way to get him interested here?
We can try, but he seems so angry. What I have done so far is to pray for Scott, and I've asked all the elders to pray for you, and especially for Scott.
I've been praying too, but I don't think it's been working. I hope that's okay to say, Pastor.
I think God can handle that. There is someone in the session who specifically asked about Scott, and asked me to introduce him to her. Is that all right, Anne?
Who is it? I don't want to put too much pressure on Scott.
Janet is a very special lady. She has a way about her. She can be pretty direct and unpredictable, though. She's a bowler at age 72 and a power knitter.
A what?
You should see her. She can knit an entire sweater in just one session meeting. Tell us something about our session meeting.
What does she want to do?
I'm not sure. I think she just wants to pray for Scott.
I think that'd be fine.
Good morning. Good morning, Janet. You see that boy sitting in the back by himself? Who is he? That's Scott, the young man I mentioned to you in the session meeting. Oh, yes. So that's him. What a handsome young man. And you're right. He doesn't look too happy. Thanks, Pastor.
This is how Scott's routine began. Each Sunday, Scott would sneak into the pew at the last minute and wait to escape after the benediction.
Go forth into the world with compassion and justice in your heart. Give voice to the silent. Give strength to the weak. See one another, hear one another, and care for one another. It's all that easy, and it's all that hard.
And boy, did Janet go forth with compassion in her 72-year-old heart. I saw this supposed little old lady, looking more like a pass rusher in the Super Bowl. It must have been her power golden boots. She went straight for Scott, who was eyeing the best, shortest pathway through the crowd and out of the building.
Scotty! My name is Janet, and I'm an elder here, and I'm praying for you every single day. I think you're handsome.
And then Janet hugged him like there was no tomorrow.
I am praying that Jesus is healing your heart.
Thanks, lady.
A reading from the Gospel of Matthew 21 to 22. Jesus replied, I tell you the truth. If you have faith and do not doubt, not only can you do what was done to the fig tree, but also you can say to this mountain, go, throw yourself into the sea, and it will be done. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer.
The next Sunday was pretty much the same.
Good morning.
And the church service went as usual.
Go forth into the world with justice and compassion in your heart. Give voice to the silent, give strength to the weak. See one another, hear one another, love one another, and care for one another. It's all that easy, and it's all that hard.
I did notice Scott looked for different means of escape. But Janet cowered with her and she got him again. She cornered him again before he could leave, and she said,
Scotty, remember me? I'm Janet. I'm an elder here, and I'm praying for you every single day. I sure do love you. I'm praying that Jesus is healing your heart. You sure are handsome. You have a nice smile, too, by the way.
And she gave him one of her patented hugs again.
Thanks, lady.
Well, this went on every single Sunday for it seemed like a whole year. Scott would sit in the back, and Janet would seek him out, tell him how much she loved him, and that she was praying for him every single day.
A reading from the 7th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew, verses 7 through 12. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds, and to him who knocks, the door will be opened. Which of you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask for him? So, in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets.
Hey, Mom, what was that weird old lady today in church?
Which weird old lady? There are many in our church.
You know, the one that always talks to me, climbs me against the pew, and tells me that she loves me?
Well, honey, that's Janet. And I don't know if you heard, but the pastor prayed for her in church today. It seems she's got blood clots in her heart, and it doesn't look too good for her. She's in a hospital downtown.
Will that happen to be on the way home?
No, honey, because we're going west, and the hospital's behind us in the opposite direction.
Mom, can I turn the car around and go visit that weird old lady?
Oh, that'd be fine. Take a right at the light.
a reading from Psalm 55, verses 1 through 2. Listen to my prayer, O God. Do not ignore my plea. Hear me and answer me.
On that Sunday afternoon, as the story has it, Scott's mom had to almost run to keep up with the young man she'd been worrying about so much. He was striding through the quarters of that hospital as if taking it by storm. He more or less barged into Janet's room.
Scotty, what are you doing here? Did you come to see me?
You know, we were just driving around the neighborhood, having to be on the way.
Well, honey, I was just praying about you. Come over here. I'm so glad you're here. I was afraid I was going to miss you today. Come sit by me so I can give you some sugar. I'm sure glad you're here.
I'm told it was quite the scene. Scott shoves this gorgeous little old lady over on her bed, and he sits right down beside her. He wrapped his arms around her, and he rested his head on her shoulder. And he held her tight, and he spoke to her softly, in a way his mom had not heard from him in a long time.
So how are you doing, Mrs. Janet?
Oh, sweetheart, I'm a little scared. I haven't been in the hospital since I birthed my baby years ago. The doctors don't know what is happening. I'm kind of afraid.
Oh, ma'am, you're going to be okay.
That's sweet, honey, but I am not so sure.
No, ma'am, you're going to be okay.
Honey, that's nice, but I am not so sure.
No, ma'am, you are going to be okay.
How do you know that?
I know it because I've been praying for you every single day for the whole past year.
Honey, you've been praying for me. I've been praying for you.
I know. I've been praying to God and saying, okay, the rest of my life is in complete ruins. But all I have to do is take care of this one old weird lady. And I know that I'll be okay.
Sweetheart, why are you praying for me?
Don't you see, ma'am? You're saving my life. You're saving my life.
As Anne told me later on, at that moment she knew her son was going to live. He was going to be okay.